Hello YouTube, Infinite Magicraid community, Gandalf here. So left the test running for quite a bit. You can see the test dummies are almost dead for one of them. The purpose of this is just really to leave the auto battle on a little bit, get a general sense of the proportion of damage. The new heroes, Dez and Bophany, or mainly Bophany is the damage dealer. Dez is more of the support, but how much damage can they do? Um, as a pair and how much support they can give in comparison to some of the best damage dealers. I don't expect them to be out damaging any of the best damage dealers we have here, but at least it gives a sense of how big the gap is. From a stat perspective, I set Bophany and Des both at 50k attack, 100% crit rate, crit damage, 2000 speed. Um, for reference, my Jingle Bell is at that crit rate damage point, but the attack is not there. My Nita is a little bit over 50k attack. The Mastery is set at 200, but Jax is giving it a little bit of a boost. Jack is at over 200 Mastery, close to 50k attack, 1800 speed. So stats wise, they're very comparable in terms of what you expect at this level. But when you look at the damage distribution, Bophany is doing a little bit more than half of Jingle Bell, about maybe 60 to 70% of where Jack's at. Now, because this is a very AoE focused situation, Nita does have advantage over the others. But I think what we can learn in this situation is, okay, this is not going to break the game. We're going to run the test a little bit. We're going to run a test later against maybe Indra, and just to see, in the grand scheme of things, how much value do these heroes bring together? Um, in my last test, I've kind of shown that Des by herself, sorry, Bophany by herself, the damage is not really there. It takes a really long time to stack up to 100 stacks. And a lot of the triggering conditions, you really need Des to be there to make it viable. What Bophany brings to the table, so from a buff perspective, okay, Bophany is going to be able to bring out the attack up. So attack up, if Des is alive, you get the attack up for everybody. And when you have higher exclusives, I believe, sorry. Yeah, she's gonna be able to inflict defense down. So she has attack, defense down, and Resolute 2 is gonna come out when she has exclusive 1. So she's gonna be able to give all allies Resolute 2 for 1 turn. So that's boosting 40% skill damage. So from a buffing perspective, you got attack up, skill damage up, and you got defense down. Okay. Does provide a lot of complementary effects as well. So off the bat, you got um, if Bophany is alive, all allies get speed up. So speed up 2 and consolidation. All right, and you also get shielding. So every layer of increase the shield value that's granted, so up to 15 layers. But in terms of give them a shield of 5% of his HP. For every layer, increase the shield value by 1%. Doesn't seem to be a lot, okay? But once you're exclusive to, you get all allies 18% more crit damage. Who are attackers will get 26% more crit damage. So this is kind of like you got additional crit boosting, and you get a tiny shield. Okay, a tiny shield. Um, so it's not like a massive shield. It's a tiny shield. It gives them a little bit more shielding there. What you do get though is you do if the ally is also alive, you get additional layer of angel wings. So what's really nice is that Dez is going to help Bethany stack up angel wings. Okay. Last time when we talked, angel wings is the one of the primary ways Bethany's going to do damage, and it's going to work really well in a single DPS situation. And what does allow you to do is you can stack additional stacks of it, and whatever ally triggers attack, he's going to gain a layer. If the ally's attacker, he's going to get additional layer, and he's going to give them shield, but he's not going to be the one that's going to be doing attack. It's just when he's going on his basic attack, he is going to just give one layer of angel wings. So it's not like massive increase in terms of the number of angel wings uh, you're going to deliver, because Bethany is going to pursue attack every single turn, right? If so end of ally's turn, and there's a 40% chance to pursue attack. So here it goes up to 60%. Even with if you had does, this is not going to change. Okay, so you will get the angel wings on the target. Each target can at most get 6 angel wings. So there is a cap to this, right? It goes up to 10. So we're going to try later in a bit in sort of like simulating a boss situation, how if you can consistently get to 10 with just the two of them, along with any other hero. And here you kind of have then the defense down. I think what's really nice is with this setup, you have a very complete setup buff. The only thing you don't have in this team setup from just the two of them is you don't have speed down. Because right now, you get tenacity down and feebleness. Okay, so this gives you a really strong um, um, setup for direct damage dealing. So if I think about, the heroes that can really give a lot of this, like there actually isn't a lot of heroes that can give you this nice complementary set of um, of debuffs and buffs. Like you're looking at, you need to bring Catherine for the feebleness for the most part, and then you also then need defense down and tenacity down. Like normally, like getting the additional tenacity down is also a little bit tricky. Like I feel like the two of them, like under perhaps it could actually help um, with the effort boss, because the current effort boss in in the Endless Cloister really require you to have direct damage set up and a lot of debuffs um, set up on the enemy for and attribute debuffs, right? So you get a lot of attribute buffs up and debuffs down. And with the Echo, it really boosts. So we'll go take a look at the new Echo in a sec as well, and you can see it will synergize really well with Bethany. The only problem I see here is just sort of, the damage just still doesn't seem to be there. So we're gonna quickly change our lineup a little bit. Okay, we're gonna bring in a couple of other heroes just to benchmark and see, where we're gonna be at. All right, so we're gonna put in, let's put in, the other pair that we are so familiar with, Indra and Diemu. And maybe let's put in Emoshi just for comparative sake, because I think a lot of the players are like, well, I'm gonna be able to, pick up Emoshi here, and I'm gonna just edit attributes here. We'll leave these two the same, and the rest will use my own stats. And we'll leave it running for a little bit, and just to see what happens here. We will pick a common target where we can. We'll focus on this force hero, just so that we get a consistent test where we can. So we'll let it run a couple minutes while we think about it. From a hero design perspective, right? Let's think about the number of slots we usually bring, right? For most content, we usually bring 3 supports and 2 DPS. Often we even bring 4 support and 2 DPS to keep things alive a little bit. In this current setup, like unless we're forced with multiple waves, like let's just think about it in a PvE setting, right? In a PvE setting, for the most part, you only need one team. And that team kind of is already stacked with the limited heroes is the end game where you want to go to. This does give you, I guess it gives you more of a free to play option, but really I'll say is the fact that you needed two heroes doesn't make it very free to play friendly because you're like trying to look for 2 specific heroes. And miracle summons, I wouldn't consider that as, very free to play friendly. Yes, it does give you kind of a interesting new way of gameplay, but unless they kind of force content where maybe you need to clear PvE content with multiple teams where you can't have overlapping heroes, I suppose that's, the Wuthering Coast aspect. But like in other, but majority of your PvE content, literally like you have the exact same setup. Near end game, it's the same heroes, limited heroes. Or if you're expecting like the standard setup, I think is you're just looking for, the Nordak, the Santas, and the Catherines will be your support. And then for your DPS, people are usually running, Little Jack. Um, if we were to try to go non-limited heroes, you got things like Andreas, you got Hez, and Heejin, um, just to name a few, right? Like you have a few different options. And I think Indra and Demu really showed up in a lot of teams recently. Um, in my last video, I was just going around and looking at, what teams are people running, and you see DMU and Indra everywhere. So I think we ran the test long enough. Let's take a quick look and see what kind of, damage we actually got here. So this kind of caught me off guard a little bit. You can see how much damage Bethany is actually doing here compared against Indra here. Definitely in a single target situation, I think Indra is going to shine. Bethany does do a lot of AoE, so the AoE is really picking up and helping her climb the stats quite a bit. Okay, so it doesn't mean she does not have potential. I mean, look at the single hits right now, right? Like every ally when taking a turn, she's doing around around 50k right now, right? And then a lot of the enemies you can see they're getting even in an AoE situation, right? You're getting very close to 10 stacks of feathers. Like even in this random situation, like like if you think about it, right? Like every single one of your ally's turn, if it was a single target, she wouldn't be randomly firing those feathers. They will all go on one target. So getting to 10 feather stacks shouldn't be too big of a problem. All right, and does just look at the amount of debuffs you're able to generate. Um, is very valuable for the direct damage setup. It's invaluable. Um, so what's kind of the conclusion, guys? I mean, I would say that I feel like it's got legs, right? Like it's not like completely gimmicky. The damage. Let's do one final test before we reach the conclusion. I feel like perhaps I'm jumping to conclusion a little bit too early here. Um, we're gonna, unfortunately, Devs, if you're listening, can we have a setup where we choose just one enemy but with like infinite health or something, just so that it's much easier to test. Here we're going to It's just hopefully that this works, right? Like I've tried this in the past where um, it still didn't work very well. Like I minimize the stats as much as I can. Okay, we're gonna give it somewhat of a reasonable defense proportionally. Otherwise, as we know about direct damage, this is gonna go nowhere. But we're gonna max out the HP. We're gonna bring the crit rate to 0, just so that, we're not destroying it. We're gonna do 100 attack. Okay, and we're gonna just scale it down drastically. Okay, so we got crit damage, crit rate. It's all at 100. DMU, we're gonna put it at 100. Uh, that's fine. We're gonna put it at 100. The defense needs to be at 100. Um, Mastery, proportionally, we'll put it at 0. Is it fair? Yeah, because we're not critting, right? So mastery, let's not scale it up. So 0, mastery, 100% defense here. Do 100, 100, 0, 0 crit damage. We'll do 0 mastery as well. Okay, so just want to double check, make sure everything makes sense. So here we're only at 100 attack, 100 attack. Okay, 100 attack, no crit, no crit. 100 attack. Okay, that doesn't matter. A little bit of defense, no mastery though, and no attack. All right. And our enemy is at 2 mil HP. So now we're really much focused on a single target DPS situation. We're going to let this run a little bit. I think mathematically speaking, okay, or just number speaking, from a scaling perspective, knowing the game formula, this is as close to accurate scaling as we can get it. And we're really focusing on single target damage now. I mean, a couple of things to note is the angel feathers definitely you're getting the stacks to 10, no problem. Okay. Um, but Indra most likely will come on top, just because how powerful it is to get to be able to consume 12 lightning stacks, right? We got Moshi here just so you have another, like, you know, a decent high tier uh, damage dealer, just so that you kind of get a comparison. Um, against the baseline, there's no other way of buffing it. You get a sense of the amount of damage that goes out. What's really cool about Bophany and Dez is the consistency, right? There's no cooldown to her skill set. Like it's just like whenever your allies are taking turns, she's doing extra damage. End of her turn, she does something. Like you don't even need to build her so very fast. Just simply because the majority of the damage comes from actually just the angel wings and everybody else taking turns. Um, like yes, like consuming those stacks at the end will do one big burst damage, but the fact that all these pursue attacks, they do add up, right? They do add up quite a bit. It's end of her turn is where she consumes all these stacks. So I guess end of her turn does about 50% of her overall damage, and every player, like every other hero, taking turns will kind of make up the other 50%. Originally, I was thinking these two plus Jingle Bell is a really good setup, just because Jingle Bell, have the gives everyone ensemble, and you can then give because all of these pursue attacks and they have ensembles on them, they will help Jingle Bell with building up Jingle Bell stacks. Um, okay, I think we probably left it running long enough. Let's take a look at the proportional damage. So what's really surprising, okay, what's really surprising is in a single target DPS situation, um, how much damage Diemu is actually doing. That's kind of throwing me off. Um, I guess I don't have an E3 Diemu, so I haven't really looked into that. But she's still doing half of Indra's damage, which is kind of impressive. Um, completely outshined Moshi here. Let's do one last comparison. We're gonna put in maybe um, let's see if we can do it this way. I was thinking about comparing against with the likes. Maybe we won't go there because I was thinking about Lucia, but Lucia is so stats heavy, it's not so relevant. Like I'm just thinking about like what are some other really solid single target DPS that we want to compare against. Well, let me know in the comments below because I feel like this I've rambled on long enough already about this one. Um, in the grand scheme of things, okay, if you're asking for my honest, recommendations, is if you're an end game or late game player, um, getting Bethany and Dez is not going to really change your gameplay. I really don't think it's going to change your gameplay because your existing lineup is good enough, right? Like most of the end game players there, you have the standard um, limited heroes, right? The limited heroes are what you go for. Mythic heroes are often the other ones. However, if you're starting out new, right? And this week you picked up the holiday packs a few days ago, I guess the pack where allow you to grab the free copy of sorry, not free copy of Bethany, like the $40 copy of Bethany. And you are wishing now and you pick up a copy of Does. Um, you know, they are a decent pair, right? Like the problem I have with these heroes is like, yeah, if you have the pair, they do fit well together. Like you do bring a lot. I feel like it's a very good role consolidation. You still will need another shielder like Nordak for sure, but that really opens your team for two other slots as well. A lot of flexibility. You need a slowdown and probably a little bit more survivability. So you bring, say, Santa is a good choice. Space is a good choice for early game players. And then from there, like you probably just need another wave clear, and then you get to the boss phase and you're pretty much fine. So yeah, it gives. I feel like the game definitely was missing. Um, a lot of solid direct damage options. I mean, Jingle Bell was the latest one, and Makio, I feel like just still not boss quality material yet. It's more of a turn meter manipulating up one. So I think the two fill a spot right now. Is the direct damage options are very limited in the game. That's really decent. Like Jingle Bell is all the way up there. There's no other, I guess, non-limited hero options that has very good sustain high direct damage DPS. So I feel like this kind of fills that gap. So if you like the hero, you like the design, all of that, that's a different story, right? Like, but in terms of just raw strength, I'll say it's above mediocre. It's pretty decent. So yeah, would I spend tons of money trying to get it? Absolutely not. I think once you do get this hero though, I don't think it's game changing, right? Like the key thing is, I would only recommend you go after something on Miracle Summon if it's actually going to be meta breaking or meta changing. And these are not meta changing heroes. They're just simply, strong and decent. It's like, with the likes of uh I'll put that in the category maybe. it was a little bit stronger than when Zora came, right? Zora was decently strong, but it was just so-so. I mean, there's so many heroes in the game that's kind of so-so. I'll put them on the same level as Andreas, right? Andreas was definitely a solid add to alternative option, the burn damage. Um, I will put the pair on the same level as Adhesion or Huz, right? Like in terms of, but in the direct damage category, right? Like, because right now we seriously don't have a solid direct damage dealing hero, and I think we found one that's not a limited hero, right? So there you have it, guys. Um, if you're heavily missing a direct damage dealing hero, um, I'll say this is probably the one. I mean, Lucifer is definitely an option for single target as well. Oh, you know what, guys? That's what we'll test. Okay, we will test against Mr. Lucifer, except we're gonna have to set things up a little bit differently. Just simply because Lucifer does have a huge reliance on crit as well. Let's quickly do the setup. Sorry, I know I said I'll end it, but you know what? If you're already bored, you don't have to check it out. You can drop. But for those of you who are curious, let's follow through with this because I am just curious, right? Like I really want to know, um, will we get this pair? Um, and I'll do. I mean, Ben Austin technically gives everyone a boost. So here, let's do that. We'll put in just want to know like how much more Jingle Bell is going to do as a single target. We got everybody here. Enemy, we're gonna set up. Um, okay, this time around, okay, we're gonna just we'll put the defense just a little bit higher. We'll max out the HP. On attack wise, we're gonna be at 100 each, but we're gonna be at 100% crit rate with 150 crit damage. Just for the benefit of that doesn't matter. He's gonna be doing the joint attack anyways, so we'll do 100, 100, and this is more of a direct comparison of all direct damage dealing heroes, right? And from a scaling perspective, hopefully this makes sense. Lucifer will have his own buff on crit damage, which is fine. Yeah, I just want to make sure no one accidentally killed the whole thing. Okay, let's run this a little bit. Okay, this is pretty much our final test, just from a scaling perspective, trying to understand, um, how good can we get the damage to be. And I mean, we barely see any Lucifers now, but I mean, Lucifer was always kind of, the king of single target damage for a really long time. It's just, let's see how much he's been power crept by, right? He used to be like the gold standard to go to for direct damage. But just looking at the number of times he's attacking versus the others, I can already feel or tell that, Lucifer probably has been power crept by far. We'll let it run for just a few more rounds, and then we'll go take a look at the stats. Because Bethany is not even fully stacked yet, right? And Jingle Bell is halfway through. Um, okay, let's take a look. Well, to my surprise, right? Pleasantly surprised that Lucifer is actually keeping up, right? Jingle Bell is ahead by only 50% compared to Bethany. Um, Dez is really just purely support, so the damage is negligible. So there you have it, right? From a single target perspective, from a boss killing perspective, um, it's very much a solid hero, right? Like if you get the two of them and being comparable to some of the best mythic heroes, or yeah, mythic heroes to in the direct damage department, I think this is a this is decent. Like I'm pretty sure that Jingle Bell is definitely winning the direct damage race. We see Jingle Bell being the only team there, right now, to be able to actually beat Ifrit. Lucifer, highest multipliers, and Bethany is keeping up, actually surpassing it. So there you have it. Yeah. Um, but just given the fact that how hard Miracle Runes are to get, I still have a hard time, recommending you grab it. But by no means are these heroes weak. They are strong. So, if you happen, I mean, let's take a look at the banner. Um, I mean, if you absolutely have to summon, okay, Nurja is weak, Fashan is good, Rona is good. So if you absolutely want one, getting extra copy of Fashan and Rona wouldn't hurt. So yeah, like recommendation wise, still hopefully you pick up these pairs sometime throughout your lifetime of playing. Especially free to play, I would never recommend this. If you're a whale, you're a collector, hey, it's your money, you do whatever you want. Strength wise, I kind of already rambled on long enough. Okay, that's all for today. It's getting late as well for me. And I'll catch you guys in a future video. Gandalf out.